Jay Alphonse, how are you?
I'm doing well, Scott. Good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Well, we were in the midst of it last time I spoke to you. Now
Yeah,
it's
man.
a lot's happened since.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations on the show again.
Thank you.
Now you have a bit of time to look back and reflect. Have you guys started to pinch yourself, or have you pinched yourself yet? The fact that the show's kind of taken off in an amazing way so far.
It's still very surreal, Scott. Thanks again for sitting down with me and talking to me. It's surreal, man. It's one of those things where throughout the pandemic, we weren't able to really get out and touch the people as much as we would have, after season one. And so now that things are opening back up, you're getting to walk around a little bit, people recognizing you every step of the way. Even with your mask and hat on, sometimes people kind of like, oh, I know who that person is. And so to go from being, one of those familiar but unfamiliar faces, as I like to say, silent assassin, to people knowing exactly who you are, it's been a great feeling. It's exhilarating. And at the same time, I'm just grateful that people accept the work and love the work, and that people have fallen in love with this world that Katori Hall has created.
Yeah. What have fans been saying to you? Because the show, it's comedy, it's a drama, but it also does such a great job for representation for a lot of different groups and people. What have people been what's the feedback from people that you've been getting?
From people saying it's the best show they ever seen, to people saying that how much it changed their life, to people saying that, they wish the Pynk was a real place, like all these different things. You get a plethora of different opinions and expressions from PValley, which is great because you have all these different characters for people to relate to. It's not one singular character that someone can say it's like, oh, this show is about this person, or I love the fact it's about so many different people. And so the fact that I'm able to represent a specific group of people. And I like to call Lil Murda the everyman, because I feel like he represents a lot of different people within who he is. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. And I'm so glad that Katori has created this world where each of us are able to stand out and shine in our own light.
Yeah. And now you've got season two, which brings different pressures, preferable pressures, I'd imagine, given that you have a fan base and everything else, but still a strange pressure. Did you guys feel that on season two, that there was a bit more pressure, given that there is now a fan base and people are excited to see where it goes next?
I think we did feel that pressure, not only because of COVID and what that was doing to us and making it a lot harder to kind of get the show done. But I knew, we want to go above and beyond the expectation of what we created already for season one. And I know without a doubt that we did that. It almost feels like winning the NBA championship and then people saying like, oh, they go back to back. Let's see what they go do, And so now it's kind of like we're going through that playoff run, and June 3rd, the finals start. And that's when we'll see, how people receive us and how people continue to root for us. But we have so much love surrounding the show that it also makes you feel very relaxed and comfortable in the work that you're doing. You say, you know what, they're ready for this. They are prepared to see the world continue to see the world that we've created. And no matter how complex or difficult those stories are to tell, I think we definitely went a few steps beyond season one. That's for sure.
Yeah. And obviously, in season two, there's an evolution of the characters. You get to find out things that maybe you didn't know. How surprised were you when you got the scripts for season two that Lil Murda goes through an evolution? There's things that people might not be expecting of him.
Yeah, I was blown away, man. I really was. I would call Katori sometimes crying, or I would call her so excited. I'm like, Katori, like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. How did you, come up with this? Your mind, she's just a genius writer. And so you get inspired just by reading the script. And then when it comes time to do the work on the day, I was just so locked in and grateful for the opportunity. I feel like season one, I was the sixth man. I'm coming off the bench, I'm getting my points, but now I feel like I'm part of the starting lineup. And Katori, she dished the ball to me a lot, and I'm hoping that I scored and got some buckets for her. So she's been in contact throughout this post process, and as they're editing everything, and she lets me know that she's very grateful for the performance. So, and I'm just as grateful to have the opportunity to be in all 10 episodes, to have such an incredible arc, to be connected to multiple characters at this point.
The ensemble that you guys have, I mean, you're like a family in some respects, and obviously you now have kind of a shorthand, given that you've made a series together before and now you're going back into season 2? Did you feel much more comfortable with the people, given that the ice has been broken and that you guys are kind of all in it together now?
Yeah, I did. And although we all have our own individual lives and we don't probably see each other as much as we would like to and don't spend as much time together as we like, everyone came and kind of delved right back into that family as we call, and looking out for each other. And then everyone's just very professional and business minded. And so kind of bringing your own entity to the larger entity and making sure that you're doing your job and able to be a part of that in a useful way. Everyone's really good at that over at PValley, especially with some of our new cast members. Gail Bean coming from Snowfall, she was already very well versed in what it's like to shoot a series. John Stewart, who plays Big T. And so me having to work with a new castmate as well, able to make that adjustment, but also feeling comfortable with the world that we created and knowing that, everything that comes into that world was kind of just going to fall into place. It's not much adjusting that people had to do coming back other than the pandemic, right? Which is huge. You can't just hug each other and dap each other up when you see each other. You have to keep your distance and stay in your trailer probably longer than you might want to. But there was some adjustments, but at the same time, a lot of familiar moments and us just kind of holding each other's hands through it a little differently than season 1.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about playing Lil Murda? Because like you said at the beginning, I think people maybe have a preconceived notion of who he is and what he's about, and over the series he's become something that people said before, not unexpected. So what's your favorite thing about playing him?
I would say the fact that I'm able to express so many different layers as an artist, as an actor. I'm able to show my range in a very unique way that Katori has given me. And the music is just the most fun I've ever had working on a series, and just being able to kind of sit into this music and create this character that's fictional, but also so real. And people feel like, when they see me, it's like, oh, that's Lil Murda, it's a rap, it's one of those things where I just fell in love with that component of it. And then coming from the stage, being an actor who's been in a lot of dramas, that is what I would like to say my wheelhouse, and being able to, obviously I feel like I have the range to do anything, but being able to tell these hard, dark stories, man, I enjoy that. I enjoy peeling the layers back of this complex character and even testing my own emotional range and my own vulnerability and where I can go as a performer. That has to be one of my favorite parts as well.
Yeah. I mean, the show is testament to Katori. I remember speaking to her last year or year before last, and she was like such an amazing kind of ball of energy, and she's got such a unique voice. It must be great for you as actors to, like I said before, get those scripts, because with her writing and the way how invested she is in this world, that you're going to be in for a few treats.
Yeah, for sure. And she's put together a beautiful room as well, writer's room, and these writers all follow her lead. And so you can some parts you can feel when it's like, oh, someone else wrote that, but Katori's hand is all over it, and so she's just a genius, man. I'm blessed to have an amazing showrunner, amazing writer for this show, because I know everybody doesn't get that. And I get kind of upset sometimes because I know every project isn't going to be like that, And so I wish I could take Katori along with me everywhere. But she's just a genius, man. I know that's really the only word I have for her, but she's great. And putting these stories together to where it feels real, but at the same time, it has this elevated, heightened experience to it where you feel like you're almost watching a play. You're almost on stage and seeing things happen in front of you. Just like, oh, is that really happening? Or is this real life right now? But it is. And it grounds you in a way that some writers aren't able to do. And she also flips the script and changes where it's like, no, this is not about just a little club in Mississippi. This is something much deeper, and the layers that come with that. It's great.
Also, now I guess with a season 2, you guys joined the club of not having any spoilers. Have a fan base who want to know everything and go on social media, but you don't want to tell them. Have you guys kind of got comfortable with that knowing that fans are anticipating the show, but also that everything is kind of like a spoiler now, given that they've kind of settled into the first season and now there's going to be a second season?
Yeah. It's you can go down a rabbit hole if you put PValley hashtag in on Twitter, Instagram, and see all the different comments and pictures, and people trying to find whatever little bits of information that they can. And for me, it's kind of fun having all the secrets, knowing that we have all this stuff in a bag, and when we release all this confetti, people are just going to go crazy and trying to catch it. It's amazing, and I can't wait for you all to experience everything that we've experienced over the past 10 months. And then it's very new for us too. We don't get a chance to sit in the editing room and see it all come together. So when we receive those episodes, just like, you all, it's our first time seeing it, and we're kind of going through that rush. And even when you watch it the day when it comes out, it's a rush, because then millions of people are watching it as well. So it's been nice to build this incredible fan base, and it's also nice to be able to hold some secrets from you all, no matter how hard they scratch and claw. PValley fans, they have a love-hate relationship with PValley because it took so long to come back, but they're eager, man. They're loving it. And, we kind of gain new fans every day, it seems like. So it's nice.
Yeah. And for you as a performer, obviously where you started to now, have you felt like you've now become comfortable in kind of your own skin, in the sense that now you're a performer who's had a bit of work and you've been consistent, you've been able to play different characters, you now kind of hit the ground running, so to speak?
For sure. I definitely feel very well prepared for anything that comes my way. PValley has probably given me the most, I would say, resources and tools as an actor. And then I also had an incredible journey, prior to that with theater and all the tools I grabbed from that. So, although I'm still young, I'll be 32 this year. I'm still very much at the beginning, I feel like, at my career, but I also feel like a vet to a certain extent, and what it is that I'm able to bring to the table and bring to any other room. And so PValley, Lil Murda is just one of those characters where he gives you so many tools, man. So by the time you get to the next gig, it's really nothing you haven't seen or haven't been able to do, at that point. Yeah,
I was reading in your upcoming films that you've been working with Jamie Foxx and John Boyega on a film that I think is coming out maybe later this year. What was that experience like, doing something different and working with two actors who, John is one of Britain's top exports at the minute, and Jamie is Jamie Foxx. It's he's kind of a legend in film parts.
Yeah, man. So it was, Jamie Foxx and I met when I did Just Mercy a couple years ago. And that was just an amazing experience, and being there to kind of see him delve into the work. And then so to come back 2 years later and do They Clone Tyrone, which we shot throughout the pandemic as well. We're all in a bubble. It was a tough shoot, but we got it done. And then meeting John Boyega, who's my peer, we're the same age. He's in the UK killing it. He loved Lil Murda. Obviously, I love his work. He's seen some of my stuff. And so for us to be able to kind of go head to head and They Clone Tyrone, it was really nice, man. A great experience. And I think you all are going to love this film that Netflix is putting out. It's very different from PValley, that's for sure. And you see me in a different light as well. The character is very different. So I can't wait for you all to see it.
Fantastic. As a final thing then, for fans are eagerly awaiting. They've been waiting a little bit longer, given the couple of years and the pandemic and everything, but you've managed to pull it off now. What would you say to them that they can expect from season 2, given how season 1 ended?
Well, first of all, it's worth the wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth the wait. And I think everything that you want to see happen, you'll see it and more. You'll see. I think everybody is going to be satisfied with what PValley does season 2. It won't leave anyone unsatisfied. And so I feel like, you just have to be prepared, because it is going to be a different ride. It is going to feel slightly different than season 1. It goes deeper. It's levels 2 of this season. I think as far as Lil Murda is concerned, you just have to keep your heart and your ears and your eyes open to see what this young man goes through and understand his journey, no matter how complex it may get, So a lot to expect. And then music-wise, just be prepared to bump music all summer, all fall. We took it to a whole nother level. So I think people are going to be very excited about that as well.
Nice. Have they given you any indication that you might get a chance to go back again for a season 3, or is it too early to tell just yet?
I think, business-wise, it's too early to tell, but, fan-wise and storytelling-wise and how this season ends, I feel very confident about a season 3. And I was mentioning earlier that, Starz is very supportive of telling these stories created by Black women and women of color, and just you know, that just Black stories, you know. And so I see PValley having a long journey over at Starz, hopefully 6 seasons, you know, 5, 6 seasons. And Katori, she always tells us, you know, she has that in her as well to push out, and she has the stories there. So yeah, I feel confident about it.
I think you will. I think you will. The show's great. I really enjoyed the show. Jay Alphonse, thank you so much for your time again. Absolute pleasure. And so lovely to see you again. And yeah, good luck with everything. I hope it goes well for you.
Likewise, Scott. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you